Alright, so I'm standing right beside kilometer marker 7.8, which is the very end of the Rideau Canal where Carleton University is. That's what all those buildings over there are in the distance. And as I said, this is the very end. You can't skate any further along here. There's a barricade. Over there, there's a lock where the canal continues on to the next section, but of course there's no skateway over there. So this is the end of the skateway. And we're going to skate down here from kilometer marker 7.8 all the way up to the top. And I've got my camera mounted on a special camera sled that I built specifically for making this kind of video. And I just finished using it for filming a skate from the top to bottom, which I've already posted on YouTube at this point when you're watching this, but since I have all my equipment here and everything, I figured I might as well film the reverse direction as we go from top to bottom. And I'll do my best not to be repetitive of things that you've just seen. So I'd say that this camera sled thing's working really well. It's pretty much effortless to push. It just glides really nicely along the ice. The only downside I've really found so far is that it seems to be particularly noisy. Which I guess isn't a huge problem because I use a external microphone and earpiece for actually recording the audio of my voice. But it is still pretty loud. It makes a lot of background noise as well. And notice if I pick this up off the ice, it instantly gets much quieter, but I'm sure it also gets much more shaky. But it's really easy to skate with. You put either one hand on it or both hands, and it just glides along nicely. I can even let go of it for a sec. No hands for now. I'm gonna grab it again. I don't do that too much though, because as soon as I let go, I probably will find that one really bad part of the ice that could cause it to break, so I try to avoid letting go. And as the day gets later, there'll probably notice a lot more skaters on the ice. Right now, I think it's probably around 8:45, 8:45 in the morning. Actually, no, probably later than that. Probably more like 9:15. I don't have a clock nearby. So we're just going to go across Dow Lake now. And since I've already filmed a video talking about the navigation and the points along the way, I won't explain it all a second time in my second video. If you want to learn more about the navigation, go and watch my first skating video. The Rideau Canal, top to bottom. So if you haven't watched one of my videos before, you don't know who I am or what I do in my YouTube channel. My name is cjhoyle, and I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And this weekend I'm visiting the capital city of Canada, which is called Ottawa, Ontario. It's about a 5-hour bus ride, sometimes 6 hours from Toronto to Ottawa. And I came to Ottawa just for this weekend, just exclusively to enjoy the canal. So I boarded a bus at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday, which brought me to downtown Ottawa at about 1:30 or 2 in the afternoon. And I checked into my hotel, which is a hotel on McLaren Street called, what's it called? called the Business Inn. And I've stayed there 3 other times before this one, and I really like it for staying downtown Ottawa and being really close to the canal. It's about a less than 5-minute walk. And yesterday I skated on the canal as well, but it was very snowy. It was pretty much snowing all afternoon. It didn't stop snowing until maybe 7 or 8 in the evening, maybe even later than that. So the ice was very snowy. They do a pretty good job of keeping it plowed, but it's never going to be as smooth as it is right now because they spent the whole night getting it completely cleared off. So we're just getting to the end of Dial Lake here, and then we'll turn around and go back the other way. Continue along the canal. But if you live in Canada or Ontario and you've never been to the canal in Ottawa during the winter, I would highly recommend coming here because I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun, and it's something that you can't really do anywhere else. Of course, just about every town in Canada of a certain size has at least an arena or at least an outdoor skating rink that you could go skating on. But skating in circles on a little ice pad is completely different than what you do here. Being able to skate in a long, continuous pathway is really a lot of fun. It's almost like doing something like cross-country skiing. Because if you skate just skating in a circle on an ice pad, it gets pretty boring after a while. And you can really only do it for, I don't know, an hour or 2 at most. But here I can come here and skate 30, 40 kilometers in a day if I want. Last year when I was here for the same kind of schedule, 2 days, I skated a total of almost 70 kilometers. And I just loved it. It was just so much fun. Usually I will, if I'm not filming a video, I'll put my headphones in and just listen to some music as I'm skating and just like to go nice and fast and just go from end to end. The weather today is supposed to be pretty good. It's supposed to go up to as cold as about -3. When I left home, or left the hotel this morning, it was saying -11. So it's always colder first thing in the morning, but around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, or maybe 3, it'll hopefully go up to around -3. I'd say that right now, though, I'm at a pretty good temperature. I'm wearing a light jacket and breathable shirt underneath. And I'm actually overheating a little bit. So I'm going to unzip one of my vent zippers to get a little bit more airflow under there. Because getting too warm in the winter is just as much a problem as getting too cold, because when you get too warm then you start to sweat and then you get wet clothes, and being outside with wet clothes in the winter is really bad. It can make your temperature go way down and you can get hypothermia. Alright, so here's the first bridge we go under. Kilometer marker 5.4. So I guess that's 2.4 kilometers that we've done so far. Definitely more people on the ice now than there were when I skated the other way. If you want to learn more about the camera sled that I'm using for filming this, I've also created a video where I showed my initial test of it and also showed you a little bit about how it was built. I've got a video on that. I've got a link, I'll put a link for that in the description, as well as an annotation on the video here. So I really like sections like this than where in the canal where it's nice and narrow like this and it's kind of windy. I just find it fun. The thing is, the narrower the canal is, the faster it feels like you're going. So when it's really wide, the scenery doesn't change very much, but when it's narrow, the sides are much closer, so you're going past them a lot faster, or so it seems. Yeah, this right here is probably my favorite section of the canal. So after I'm done skating to the top, I'll take my camera back to the hotel and my skates and everything, and I will disassemble the camera rack, the sled. I still haven't come up with a proper name for it yet, but I'm sure I'll come up with one. I'll disassemble it and put it all back in its stuff and pack up my suitcase and everything. And then I'll check out of the hotel, but I'm gonna leave some of my stuff at the counter there at the hotel, because my bus this afternoon isn't until 4:15, so I've still got lots of time to enjoy Ottawa and to skate some more during the afternoon. So I'm gonna just dump off my stuff there, go and have lunch, and then go and do some more skating. And then after I'm done, I'll go back to the hotel, sort out some of my stuff, and then head over to the bus terminal, catch my bus back to Toronto. Then we're going past TD Place again. When I was looking up TD Place online, there's a TD Place, which is for football and soccer, and there's also a much older arena, which is called TD Place, which is where the Ottawa hockey team plays, the Ottawa OHL team, the Ottawa 67s. And the significance of the number 67 in Ottawa, or in Canada, is that's when Canada became a country in 1867. So I guess that means that in 2 years, 2017, Canada will be 150 years old. Look at that building. I've never seen that before. It's a neat looking building. Another big group of joggers here. You don't see as many joggers out later in the day after the canal gets more filled up with skaters. I think jogging is more of a early morning thing. Impressive that they're able to get such big groups out for running on the canal. the general etiquette here is that when you're skating, you go on the right-hand side, like when you're driving. And most people seem to follow that pretty well. Of course, yesterday when it was covered in snow, it wasn't very well defined what was the left and what was the right. Basically what they seemed to do is they had snow plows, and there'd be people skating on the icy parts, and then the snow plow would plow a new place where there was snow and clear off the ice, but they kind of made these lanes. So they couldn't really plow in the areas where people are already skating, so they seemed to make a new pathway through the snow. Just gonna pass through the concession stands here, just so we can see them. Nothing's open yet. That place there, you can rent stuff. You can rent skates, as well as rent these little sleds that you can push people in, and other things like that. There's also lots of little tables, and beaver tails is something that is supposed to be unique to French Canada, or at least this part of Canada. It's like it's named after the tail of a beaver, which is, I guess, one of our national animals, the beaver. It has a big flat tail, which is kind of rubbery, and it's used for when it swims in the water. The tail is there for steering, and I guess for pushing as well. But they make something that kind of looks like a beaver's tail out of some kind of dough, and it's just kind of fried in oil like a donut. And then they put various different toppings on it, the most common being cinnamon and sugar and butter. So it's really just a big donut. They sell those all the way along the canal, as well as lots of other wintry places in Canada. The other thing they do is they take maple syrup, another very Canadian thing, and they pour it on the snow, and they put kind of like a popsicle stick around it, and then you've got like a lollipop that's made out of maple syrup. And they do that here on the canal, as well as lots of other winter Canadian places. Alright, well, we got to go down this little pond here. We got our full distance. I like going underneath this bridge because it's pretty short. Although the ice is not great there either. I find the sled kind of gets stuck in it. It's harder to push. I think having this sled does slow me down a little bit, but really not by much. I think my average speed last year and years past is usually around like 17 kilometers an hour, whereas today when I checked it was around 15, so a little bit of a reduction in speed, but well worth it to have a video to share with the world, so other people can see what it's like to skate on the Rideau Canal. Even people that have never skated before. Skating's an activity that doesn't really come naturally to a lot of people. It's kind of challenging to learn. I'd say it's harder than rollerblading, although the two are related to one another. But basically, if you just put a pair of skates on and you try and walk on the ice, you'll probably just fall down because the skates blades run parallel with your feet, the plane of your feet. And usually when you walk, you push your feet backwards and you go forwards, but with skates you have to push out sideways and kind of make a V shape, an upside down V shape with your feet. But these little kids seem to have it figured out for the most part. This guy's going faster than the rest of his whole family. Finding that my right foot is getting kind of sore, like a blister inside. Unfortunately, I don't wear skates very often around the year, so when I come to Ottawa, I really haven't skated much prior to coming here, so my feet aren't used to my skates yet. So I'll have to try and make some adjustments when I take a stop here at the end. The last thing I want is a big blister on my feet. It'll be there for a while because it'll make it harder for walking and for biking when I get back home. I'll be ready for a drink when I get back. I'm getting pretty thirsty. And I don't carry water with me when I skate. I usually leave it where I leave my shoes at the stairways where I get on. And then I just have a sip when I go past. But the stairway's right at one of the ends, so I go a long distance without having any water. It'd be nice if they had drinking fountains along here, but I'm sure that would be very hard to maintain with the water freezing and everything. Alright, we're at kilometer marker 1.4, and this last area of washrooms and change rooms and concession stands. The last one of these before the end where the Parliament buildings are. Definitely more people on the ice here in this section than there were when I started. And if we come back in 2 or 3 hours, there'll be many, many more. So many that you'll have to weave around people to get along. I don't know which I like better, having it clear or having it with people. You know, having it clear is nice because you can go nice and fast, but it's also nice having other people on the ice with you. Seeing all the different skates people have and different contraptions that people bring on the ice. I've seen some interesting mobility, like paraplegic kind of skating sled things that go on the ice, like what they use in sled hockey in the Paralympics. I've seen those on the ice before, although not this year. Haven't seen them today, haven't seen them yesterday. Oh boy, alright. So this is the Corktown Bridge right here. And I'm going to stop and grab some water as we go past. Take a short little 10-second break. Oh, and there's somebody out with the golf cart clearing off the stairways. Alright, and here we go. It's the last little 800 meters or so of the skateway. And you can see lots of pointy topped buildings ahead. Which of course are the buildings on Parliament Hill. The Canadian government buildings. Because this is our capital city. Somebody with a stroller on the ice. See lots of people with things like that, as well as people with toboggans that they're toting their kids. Toboggan, like right there. It's a great way to take your kids and see the canal. Almost there. Last bridge we're going under. There's this picture frame thing here. It says the world's largest skating rink, Rideau Canal Skateway, and that's so you can stand in behind that and someone takes your picture and it makes a nice picture frame around the photo. Alright, here we are. That kilometer 0.0. Start. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on my skate from the bottom of the canal all the way up to the top. I make similar videos like this when I ride my bicycle with a camera mounted steadily on the bike and a microphone which I record and narrate as I ride. Hope you enjoyed my take on skating. Thanks for watching.